It is the Jim and Terry Show coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in Bobcaygeon. Bright, sunny, cheerful day. But the topic is kind of dark, kind of scary. We're talking about Christians, conservative Christians, are wrong about everything. A podcast by Tim Whitaker. I think he's still within the realm of faith. But boy, does he lay it on the line as to finger wagging. Who's to blame for the current state of affairs with crazy President Trump at the helm, and no one dares speak against him. No one dares raise a finger to rein him in. No one puts up a guardrail. They just pretend everything is okay. And we already covered a podcast. How long can you pretend that your president is okay when he's obviously nuts? And this podcast by Tim Whitaker goes on to name names and point fingers at the direction of the Bible Belt of the United States of America, who voted not once, not twice, but 3 times in support of the orange felon, Orange Jesus, whatever you want to call him, Donald J. Trump. I forget what the actual original German was, Drumpf, I think. Changed when his father immigrated from Germany. So an immigrant, the son of an immigrant. You'd think he'd be more sensitive to the plight of immigrants, but he's not. Racist, obviously. From the time he tried to put up a personal ad in the, in the front page? No, the middle section of the New York newspaper about the Central Park Five. He wanted them all hung, even though they were all exonerated. Yeah, the racism begins with his treatment of tenants in his low-income residential apartments in New York. His treatment of knocking on doors and demanding rent or get out. Maybe there's a place for hard ownership of buildings, and people will take advantage. But there are some people who, through circumstances not of their own making, but life doesn't separate that, which links back to the previous podcast and the book, Justice and the Politics of Difference. So all of this stuff sort of relates and overlaps in multiple layers. And I've been, my own volume 1 of The Grace of Uncertainty does level a fair laser pointer at the likes of Franklin Graham, like the likes of others in the evangelical community, from Paula White to others, Doug Wilson in the evangelical and New Apostolic Reform, and whatever the other denomination is that's taking over white America, white Christian America. Yeah, you people think that this is what Jesus wanted when you voted for Trump, who's a convicted 34-count felon, who's a convicted perpetrator of sexual assault, who is a convicted fraudster, and having given up the right to have a charity because he absconded with the money in New York City. Not just he, but he and his son. So his family, the circle gets wider and wider of corruption. And who made nearly $1 trillion over the first year of his presidency, more money than all presidents combined? Donald J. Trump. And yet it's illegal to make money and profit off the office of the presidency, because your duty is to serve. The word republic in Latin means belongs to the people. Trump doesn't think that at all. He thinks it belongs to him. Everything. The White House, the East Wing. Oh, so wait a minute. There is no East Wing. Well, the new bunker, the ballroom bunker, belongs to him. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be buried and tombed in there. He won't leave the White House. He'll be in the 15th floor below grade level. Whatever they're doing down there, sealing it in. Maybe it's Trump's post-apocalyptic whatever he thinks is coming. Whatever is going on, it is corrupt. It is obviously evil in terms of the religious word evil, which my good friend Jim would level at this thing too, convinced that there is an evil about Trump, an evil not heretofore seen in American culture, and it's out and about. It's in public spaces. It's on Twitter. It's on X. It's on Truth Social. It is making war illegally. It is not following international law. It is claiming things to be true that are obviously not. And all of that stuff is still not enough to get evangelicals to abandon Trump. And yet, I hope reason will prevail. But reason and faith are not necessarily the same thing. Getting back to the original podcast, the Tim Whitiaker Speaks podcast, I found his laying blame firmly at the hands of Christian conservative evangelicals. They're the ones who are the ones supporting Trump, and that is my own awareness and observation from circles that I know of people of faith. Give Trump a chance. Yeah, how did that work out in 2016? Give Trump a chance. How did that work out in 2024? And why was he allowed to be reelected when he, in the interim, was convicted? How did you allow a convicted felon to run? Why were states not allowed to wipe him off the electoral ballot in states? Some states, like Colorado, did want to remove the name Trump. He's a felon. He's convicted. He should not be able to run on a state ballot. So we have some interesting compromises. When your values compromise, perhaps your faith is compromised. And that's the message of Tim Whitaker. I'll put a link in the description. Normally I'd be able to hook up my phone and prepare a little snippet of this, but I can't at this point, so I'm just referring to it and talking about it. Tim Whitaker lays it on the line. The legacy of white conservative Christianity is a legacy. And he goes back historically, which catches my eye because he goes back not just, pre-Civil War, but to the slave trade. But he goes on and to talk about the KKK support from white Christian conservative evangelicals. It's a legacy of racism, hatred, bigotry, xenophobia, and it's time to face the music. Christians, conservative Christians, Bible Belt, Bible believing. I'm thinking he's right. It's time to face the music and try to understand, what does this mean then for other people of faith, people who do know what the fruit of the Spirit are and who know that Trump does not demonstrate one of the fruit of the Spirit. And that's a case that, maybe you could do an experiment yourself next time you hear him speak. When he puts down reporters and calls them quiet piggy, when he tells them that they are fake news, when he tells them that that's not true, but they are reporting data that is true and measurably true. And he says, my polls are real, yours are not, yours are fake. When the reality is the opposite. The polls are showing a different trend for Trump than he would like to think. So when someone embraces lies, when someone spreads lies, when someone makes it all about them, the narcissism, selfishness, what about him? That tells you that he's putting himself up in the ranks and echelons of belief. He is making it all about him, not about Jesus, not about the principles taught in the Bible, not about love thy neighbor, not about these are the two commandments, love God and love your neighbor. He's not about that at all. So if you can give me an instance where he demonstrates any one of the fruit of the Spirit, give me a quote from a speech, tell me something that he did that reflects the truth of the gospel, then maybe you can convince me of something that right now I'm having a hard time believing, which is so many believers voted for Trump, not once, not twice, but thrice, 3 times. 3 times a lady? Who sang that? Was it Tom Jones? Somebody who's listening can write in, correct me if I'm wrong. 3 times a loser. If you voted for Trump the first time, then people would say, well, it was excusable. He didn't really know. And I was sounding the alarm bells in 2015 saying, no, you don't want this guy. No, he's bad. He's demonstrated to be not a good candidate to serve the people. He does not belong to the people. He's not part of the republic. He is part of the Republic of Donald J. Trump. That's it. It's narrow, it's focused, and it's him, and he bears responsibility. The question of justice, which is the book that I was reading and referring to in the previous podcast, is really where I want to go. How can America regain its status as leader of the free world unless there is an accounting of the injustice perpetrated by the most corrupt POTUS, most corrupt first family in American history? And should the money that he gained from his corruption be used to pay down the debt? How about Medicare for all? How about putting it to some good use? The Jim and Terry Show, signing out. Bye-bye for now. It's complicated, this relationship I have with my morning coffee. It's from the way that I brew